In the second semester of my sophomore year at U of M, my mom had a sudden heart attack. I got a call from her partner, Julie, who said that my mother had suddenly collapsed. She was being rushed to the hospital, and I had to get there as soon as I could. I raced out of my dorm room and called my sister, telling her about the situation and to get ready. After a few hours at the hospital, my mom had made it through surgery, but she was in a coma. The doctors assured us that everything went well and that she should wake up within 2 days. Unfortunately, the doctor's optimism and assurances that all would be well did not end up being true. A CT scan showed that my mom's brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long, and she was, for all intents and purposes, brain dead. She passed away 3 days after her heart attack. Dealing with the depression that followed my mother's death was something I wasn't prepared for. I was overwhelmed by small things. Many members of my family deal openly with mental health issues, and it's not something that we shy away from or keep hidden. But the close bond and openness of my family, which was always so helpful before, now presented its own challenges. Not only did my family and I sometimes differ in how we wanted to process the situation, but it was hard to set boundaries when we were dealing with a shared trauma. We all wanted to be there for each other, but we needed different and sometimes contradictory things, which made it harder to deal with the grief. Transitioning back to school was very strange. It was incredibly hard for me to focus and do normal things. Readings that I could have done quickly before now took hours or were impossible. I'd always overachieved in academics, and I was used to things coming easily to me. This new situation, where things that had been easy but were now impossible, took its toll on me. I felt helpless and hopeless in more ways than one. However, my professors were as helpful and understanding as they could be, and they provided me some allowances, like extending due dates and altering exam policies. I remember one day I ran into my favorite professor from the prior semester on the street, and we set up a time to chat. He told me his own story of losing a parent, along with recommendations for both resources within the school and a book of poetry. Another thing that seriously helped me in dealing with all my mental health was seeing the full extent of my support system after my mother's death. My friends were all there for me. No one knew what to say, but their actions were better than words. One friend surprised me with a milkshake to make me smile. They were by my side every step of the way, from crying with me to simply going to the gym together. Everyone around me was responsive to what I needed and did their best to make me feel normal. I never felt seen as someone who needed to be pitied. Seeing a therapist from CAPS was extremely helpful. After our first meeting, he provided me with different options of what I could do. He offered to help me find a therapist outside of CAPS and to deal with signing up for Medicaid after losing my health insurance that had been provided through my mom's employment. His office became a safe space for me. He was always such a good listener, allowing me to guide the appointment, but chiming in with really helpful advice and conversation. We focused on short-term solutions to how I was feeling on a day-to-day basis and how to conceptualize helping myself. When I told him I felt like I was drowning, he asked me, "How can we make you float?" I'm no stranger to therapy, but my time at CAPS following the loss of my mother was by far the best and most helpful therapy experience I've ever had. Grief is a process that we have to deal with for our whole lives. Some days are harder than others, and the sadness I feel about losing my mom is never going to go away. At the same time, I'm so grateful to my family, friends, professors, advisors, employers, therapists, and the University of Michigan in general for the immense support they have given me over the years. Because of their support, I'm now a rising senior studying 2 degrees. I've acted in multiple plays, I've studied abroad, and I'm learning to live with my grief.